Okay, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the country you have joined us from. In the past few weeks, we've had people joining us from additional 3 continents. Somebody joined from, like 2 people from Europe, then we had somebody from South America, and also somebody still joined. The person couldn't join. He called me that he was late in Dubai. A great friend of the family from Dubai called, but I hope he will be able to join this afternoon. So I want to appreciate everybody for coming on board this meeting once again. Thank you. A great teacher, Mr. Matthew Ilori Oluwasegun. We appreciate that great job that you do in the space of education. We thank you. Greatness, Madam Greatness, thanks for joining. Madam Eniola Salu Akin Eku Ise Takuntakuma. Thanks for being on the show today. So let me quickly go ahead with the introduction of the topic. It's a continuation of what the series I started last week. The topic series is values, ethics, and moralities. Values, ethics, and moralities as this affects our teenagers. I remember I did say that the greater percentage of our teenagers who are Generation Z, in the next 2-3 months, they're going to leave the secondary school for the real world. So the question now is, what are we really doing as parents, as educators, teachers, teen coaches, guardians, and every other adult around these guys? What are we really doing? Are we really focusing mainly on how they're going to come out in flying colors, how they're going to have, a parallel, like we used to say it back in the days? I think it's still relevant now. It's a parallel. We didn't used to say FNM parallel. Don't mind me. Some of us had FNM parallel at the first attempt of our WAEC before we did it for the second time. Right. So, and in preparing for this topic, about 3 weeks ago, I sent out a survey that among about 5 segments, a survey concerning the Generation Z. That is my main focus for the purpose of this topic, and at the same time to get these guys prepared very well, when they leave a secondary school for the real world. What are those things that they need to take to the real world to conquer the real world? It's not about their academic performance alone. They need to they will use to conquer the real world. So, survey was sent, and top on the priority from the segment of the element, top of the priority of the element that defines their real existence is personal success, ahead of family, faith, and relationship. So if that should be the case, our job is to help them infuse right value system such that that personal success will last in their hand. Then they will make best use of that personal success. If they don't have the right value system to live that personal success, 2 things will happen. One of the 2 things will happen to them. The personal success will either leave them early enough, or that personal success drown them. We have seen many teenagers that are brilliant up there. We have seen many young youth, below age 24, age 25, that are brilliant, but at the end of it all, we had mistaken their giftings for maturity. If you are so conversant with what is happening, on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter most especially, you will all agree with me about this thing that I'm talking about, that mistake we had in time past, and I still see many of us educators and parents, making that mistakes. We had in time past believed that their giftings, their talents are equal to maturity. It is not so. There is a place of maturity and there is a place of giftings. Somebody told me some time ago, one of my coaches ran this thing. I was on a leadership course with him and he ran me through this, and he said that when a gift is, there is a metaphor he used. The metaphor is oversized gift. Oversized gift is when the gift of a person drowns that person. When your gift is always ahead of you, meaning that you don't have the capacity, you don't have the wherewithal, you don't have the emotional strength, to run that gift successfully. That is oversized gift. So this is what I see that many of our teenagers are going into, and we don't want that to continue. It is really a malady that we must really correct. So that was the reason why I started this episode last week. The topic series last week. So today I continue, but let me quickly run us through what I did last week. So thank you everyone that has joined on Facebook and Instagram. So let me quickly run us through what happened last week. The definition was laid down. The premise was laid down about what values, ethics, and moralities are, which we all know. In a nutshell, these are just normal standard of behaviors that guide our attitude, that guide our relationship, that guide our visions in life. Ethics, moralities, and values are just like that. And I remember I did say, it is not enough to believe in somebody's value. It's not enough to really believe in somebody's ethics or morality. Why do we need to scrutinize such? Because it depends on where that person lived, how he grew up. So for instance, if I grew up in a particular area where I met it that when a twin is born, one had to go. So when I grow up, anywhere I see any twin, and the two of them are living, my conscience will always tell me that these people are not doing the right thing, because one must have died, one must be killed. So that is the culture, that is the ethics, that is the value I lived with in the environment that brought me up, that raised me, right? Then again, if I live in an environment whereby it is compulsory, it is mandatory, it's part of the culture that I must sleep with my wife's brother, or my brother must sleep with my wife. So when I grow up, I've seen that as a child. So when I grow up and I get into a society where that is not being practiced, to me, it's a culture shock to me that something I grew up with, why is it not happening here? So you can see, it is not all about the value, the ethics, the moralities, but what informed those values, ethics, and morality. So if I lived in a particular place, if I grew up in a place whereby stealing is part of life, doing all sorts is part of life. When I grow up, when I become an adult, it is nothing to me, it is part of my value. My conscience won't be able to say no to it, because this is what I lived with. So, and I remember I told us that because of the culture that we have handed over to our children, the culture of elastic morality. What is elastic morality? Elastic morality simply means there is no definition again, there is no standard. So to them, the issue of ethics is a matter of expediency, no standard. The issue of ethics, moralities, values is just a matter of expediency. And I did say that elastic morality thrives on about 6. I mentioned 4. Let me mention 5 now. Elastic morality thrives on resistance to rebuke, thrives on uncensored acceptance, thrived on embracing plurality. They thrived on stretching the boundaries. Stretching the boundaries. Post-truth, that is, the area, the advent of post-truth, that is stretching the boundaries. You can't really say anything again is right or wrong. It depends on how you feel, right? Then the last one, which is, it's still 4, stretching the boundaries of belief and behavior. Stretching the boundaries of belief and behavior. So when you look at all this, you look at all this plurality, you look at all this, the elastic morality, what do we do as parents? We can't continue to churn out these guys out. We can't just be happy as parents that our children came out in flying colors. They had A's parallel, because there's something I want us to know, parents. This is the generation that is most nurtured. Thank you, Mr. Rotimi, for joining. Thank you, sir. Thank you. This is the generation that is most nurtured. They are the most nurtured generation, the Generation Z, the children that we have now. Madam Tony Sam Emehuhu, thank you for watching. Thank you. We appreciate you for coming on board today. So, you see, they are the most nurtured generation. Why are they the most nurtured generation? Because they are the most looked after generation. We don't want anything to happen to them. Unlike the way we grew up, where we don't want the social media to affect them negatively. When anything happens to them, when they come back from school, we ask about what happened. We don't want them to get bullied. We don't want them to get abused, whether emotional abuse, physical abuse, or sexual abuse. We watch over them so much, which is not a problem. I support that. I'm an advocate of that we must watch over our children. But there's something that is missing if we fail to balance it. That thing that is missing is that what gets rewarded gets repeated. What gets rewarded gets repeated. When a child sees that is always looked after, when a teenager sees that parents always do almost everything for him or for her, when a student sees that what makes his or her parent happy is the academic excellence, that particular child will continue in a way to be excelling academically. But at the same time, that is about the gifting. Meanwhile, the maturity part will be lacking. So that is why I said they are the most nurtured generation. And we have to be very, very, very careful, because result of the survey has indicated that a most nurtured generation will always stretch the boundaries. Most nurtured generation will always stretch the boundaries, because almost everything they want is at their fingertips. Social media, and again, this is the first generation that don't really need the help of adults, to do certain things, to get results. Back in the days when we would be looking for adults to ask about them, what happened, what is it, how is this thing solved? They have the Google, they have their friends, they could call. So a lot of things are happening to these guys, which I believe that we must, as a matter of urgency, come to their aid. Otherwise, they will leave the secondary school. Then we will struggle to send them to more schools, as against preparing them for the real world, for a real world. Let me say that again. If we don't do what is needful now to define what values, ethics, and moralities are, we will end up sending them to more schools as against preparing them for a real world. Fine, they came out in flying colors. Distinctions, we are happy. I will be happy. If my children come out in distinction, I'll be happy. I will celebrate. Fine. But that is to me a Pyrrhic victory. It's a Pyrrhic victory because the personal success they crave may not last in their hands. if that personal success is not infused with right values for them to stay afloat. Like a teacher rightly said, John Maxwell, he said, talent is not everything. Talent is not enough. So, on today's topic, the result of the survey again, from the result of the survey, this present generation's pattern demonstrate an evolution in the source of their morality. These guys demonstrate an evolution in the source of their morality. They don't want to listen to our advice. They don't want to listen to our own definition of what morality is all about. If any one of us that is watching now, you have a teenager, anytime you tell them something is not right, they query you, why is it not right? So it's not enough for us to tell them that this is how it's been handed over to us. So don't query me. You know, as small as stealing, yes, it is small, meaning that I don't expect any child, to query the parents or the teacher why I shouldn't steal. But these guys will query you, meaning that it is not about your own definition of stealing that matters. It's not about your own definition of abstinence from premarital sex that matters. It's not your own definition about don't tell lies that matters. It's about their own personal conviction of what is it. And that is what the survey had said. Now, when we talk about this elastic morality, the question is, where are our ethics and values heading? I'm going to tell us three reasons out of the research I made. I had about 7, but because of time, 3 reasons I'm going to explain here how they derive their own morality, how they derive their own ethics, then how they come about their own values, what they think value is to them, right? First of them is ethics to them are defined by results. Ethics to them are defined by result. It is good for them to possess very fuzzy morals. They will explain to you once they don't get caught. Once they don't get caught. In the past few days, many of you, if you've been following my postings on Facebook, and I think I posted that on Twitter as well, I wanted to know what is the percentage of students that cheat in exam. But I was not able to get the accurate percentage. I went on the National Bureau of Statistics, the WAEC website. I was not able to get what I really wanted. But I was able to get the fraction of what I needed. So it's about 25%. That was 2017. 25% of the candidates that sat for WAEC, 25% of them cheated in that exam. 25% of them cheated. About 1,559,000 students sat, nationwide. About 25% of them cheated. While WAEC said they've not really been able to ascertain that it's possible that it's higher than that, but when they scaled everything down, meaning that, about exam malpractices, it may not really be that they caught them. They could just discover that maybe a particular center isn't really properly coordinated, so they canceled. But they still came up with a figure that 25% of the total students that sat for WAEC cheated. So when you look at those guys, and even me, personal conversation I have with them regularly, they will always tell you, once I don't get caught, it's okay by me. So that is one of the sources on how they define what ethics, what values, what morality is all about. Now imagine somebody like that. In the next 10 years, 8 years, now that some governors are even interested, in employing like 22-year-old, 23-year-old young graduates as part of their cabinet. So imagine someone that derived his own part of ethics is defined by the result. So once they don't get caught, as long as they don't get caught, it's okay by them. So we need to check that. So next week, that is when I'm going to talk about how we can really channel them right, regardless of the situations that they find around themselves, which I believe that I said it, that we are part of them. So it's not a matter that whether they get caught or not. It's a matter of what is right that we know, and we explain to them, they query us, and we explain to them why it has to be. It's not about definition, it's about the practical sense of it. Excuse me. So, okay, excuse me. Number 2, ethics to them, values to them, morality to them are defined by pleasure or happening. Ethics to them are defined by pleasure or happening. They believe that the morality is based upon how it made others or it makes others to feel. I saw this guy. I love the guy. Then I go in with the guy. Then I came out. Nobody's hurt. There is this kid I was watching sometimes ago on Facebook. That's why we need to be very careful about all these guys, rolling out several kids as they like. It's not, don't worry, it's not one of those guys that are so popular, not in the likes of Mr. Macaroni, all those ones. No, but this kid was in bad taste. I must tell you, a guy saw a lady, wanted to ask a lady out, and the lady replied, "So what next? Isn't sex you are looking for? Where do you want it? In the car, or in your house, or in any hotel? Please, let's go." The guy was, dumbfounded that, has it gotten this low? So the guy followed the lady to his house. Then the lady followed the guy to his house, close to the car park where they were, right? And they got in and they had anything they wanted to do. And the lady said, "It's okay, thank you. Do you want my number or you don't want?" So the guy was still very, the guy couldn't understand why that was so. So at the end of this skit, the narrator, who apparently is actually the main actor there, now said that, "So what are you guys waiting for?" That's all. That's all about it. That's all. There's no problem about it. The guy wanted sex. The lady too wanted sex. And they had it, and everybody leaves. And everybody left after the show. To me, I wanted to pass a comment, but it's like, no, it's the guy's page. I don't need to do that. But guess what? This is what our children, our teenagers are watching. This is where they derive their own value system. They derive their own ethics. In so much, the other party is not affected. In so much, the other party is happy. In so much, the other party enjoys the pleasure of every move. A guy can decide that I want to date a guy. Once the guy is not, that is the excuse they always tell us. They say that in so much that nobody is hurt, nobody is disappointed. Everybody enjoys the old pleasure that came that came through it. You see, that is how they they define their own ethics. It is wrong. It is wrong and it is wrong. How can we checkmate this particular ethics that are determined by pleasure or happiness? I will explain to us because we still have about 2 episodes on this topic. We still have about 2 to go. The last one. Ethics, their own definition of ethics are determined by appearance or reputation. Their ethics are determined by appearance or reputation. Let me explain this. How does this play out? Simple. This plays out in the sense that what is about, let's look at, for instance, let's say Facebook now, Twitter, Instagram. There are some permissible ways of relating there, ways of dressing, ways of doing like skits that I just mentioned now ways of doing something. So, in so much, those things are proved. Rather, if so much, that social media platform approves that particular behavior, they consider it as something that is relevant. They consider it as an ethic that they should really follow. When a teenager posts something on Twitter now, and some people now say that, oh man, what is this? What is this? What kind of a home did you come from? And you see the army of teenagers, they will bombard whoever that raises a voice. They will tell that person that, do you think this is your generation? Imagine what happened during the NSAS. They said that the present leaders fucked up. I love that. Fucked up, messed up with a wrong generation. And I did say, what gets rewarded gets repeated. In so much we clapped for them during that. I know there are positive things that we can take out of that NSAS, right? But it's a kind of, there are many unintended consequences. Unintended consequences that parents, leaders don't look at too. And that is one of those things that anytime any one of them says anything on Instagram now or Twitter, they rally around themselves. And the next thing is, you guys, this is not your generation. Stay in your lane. Let us day our day. Because they believe that majority of the people, that are really that are influencers, on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, really approve such behavior. Hear what I wrote here. Ethics are determined by appearance or reputation. They look at reputation of who is there. I don't want to use this medium to begin to mention names. They look at that. Who is really appearing? Whose reputation is so high, is so commanding, is so influencing on social media. So majority of them are being guided by what a set of people believe to be wrong or right. Okay, how will it appear if my behavior or attitude is accepted by social media? So if social media accepts me to walk naked, so be it. It's an ethic. It's a value. It's moral to me. Because some set of people had approved me. And constantly, they're giving me that approval. That is what I call elastic morality. Morality is no longer within the confinement of set values, within the confinement of set culture, that have stood the test of time. Is about their own expediency. How do I feel? How do I feel? So, if we have any question that we want to, send across concerning this particular topic, let us send them. This footage is still going to be here. I will reply, I will respond to them. The service level agreement is 40 minutes, and I don't want to exceed that so that the people, the team supporters, that have come here on this meeting can go back to their respective works, right? So if you have any question, just let us send it. But I would really say, let's really delay our questions perhaps till after the end of this episode. I still have 2 episodes to go. Please, let me say this. This episode can go as long as like 10 episodes. A lot of work that we have put, into this area. Value system, ethics, and morality. Because if we don't do it now, like I did say, we will end up sending these children to more schools as against preparing them for the real world. And when we do that, what that means is we have made them to become trains without a track. Have you ever seen any train without a track? It's not possible. Any train that is really moving without a track would definitely, heading for a rock. There will always be, accident will happen. That's why the rail, the track is there to guide, to guide as a compass for train. In so much that different trains can actually be moving towards the direction, but at the point when they want to interject themselves, the track will separate them. That is what value, ethics, and morality will always do for our children. Because in the next 2-3 months, these guys will be, leaving secondary school. They will be happy, but they are going to a terrain that majority of them have not actually been really prepared. We've not prepared teachers. Some of us parents, some of us educators have not really prepared them for the real world there. And guess what? Year in, year out, these guys face this challenge. That's why I have taken it upon myself during this period, 2-3 months, we are focusing this show. The Legacy Hut with Akinropo is focusing on our teenagers that are getting set. How can we prepare them for even future careers? How can we prepare them for future careers? If time permits, on this meeting every Monday, I am going to handle that. It is our responsibility. We are not really so after about the academic excellence alone. No. Otherwise, it will just be like we are focusing on their giftings as at the expense of their maturity. And that's why you see many of them, they are so brilliant. And that is one of those, that's why they crave personal success over every other thing. Majority of these guys are brilliant. Don't joke with them. Don't joke with them. I know majority of them. I interact with them. Not even in Lagos State here alone. Across, these guys are sound. But one thing that is lacking is the compass to maintain that personal success they crave. My name is Akinropo Akinola, and I have just one assignment. That assignment is to help parents increase the quality of parenting and the methodology of nurturing African children as well as families into greatness while maximizing their full potential. So I want to thank everybody who has come on board here today. Please let me quickly say this once again. Legacy Hut with Akinropo is on Ovation International Television every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. I beg your pardon. Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Legacy Hut with Akinropo is on Ovation International Television. Ovation International Television shows on our TV decoder. It's a one-off payment. Once you just pay for the decoder, there is no monthly subscription. Then for our people that is in UK, Ayaba Feisharami, yes, this is for you. Legacy Hut is on this TV over there, Ben TV in UK, 8:30 on Saturday, UK, Ben TV. Legacy Hut with Akinropo is on Ben TV in UK. So you can catch up with that. So I thank everyone who has come. There are many episodes that I discuss in that area. A lot of them I dovetail here, but I won't be able to explain them in full detail. If you want to watch this in full detail, catch up with me on Ovation International Television. So thank you once again. If you have any question concerning the values, ethics, and moralities as it affects our teenagers, just send them there. Next week, there is a particular case in point I want to explain. There's a case in point I want to explain next week. That case in point, there was a curriculum was carved out of that case in point. Oh, I almost forgot. The curriculum, the content for next week was derived from that case in point. So I will be waiting for you next week once again. So we have the opportunity to share this message. Let us share it with our teenagers. Let's share the message with our teenagers. Let's share the message with the parents, with school owners, with teenagers, teen coaches. Let's share with them. It's a message in season. It's so timeless that we need to let today's teenagers know this. Thank you. God bless everybody who has shown up here today. Oh, yes, Saturday, Ben TV on Saturday, 8:30 p.m. 8:30 p.m. Evangelist Temilio Okewo, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming on board. Thanks for coming on board. Apostle of Chastity. Thank you. Thank you for coming on board.